Tyler from Aspire Sports. Today's video, I'm going to talk about Darrell Henderson because I feel like there's a lot of questions about Darrell Henderson. A lot of people saying stuff about Darrell Henderson, like where to take him and this and that. And I want to give you my reasoning on why I believe he's easily a top 20 back for this upcoming season and give you stats that support that. So this is my Darrell Henderson rant. It's not going to be a video that I'm going to really edit a whole lot. I'm just going to kind of talk, and I've been doing a bunch of research. So I'm going to give you my take on it. So with that being said, let's just get into the video. And if you enjoyed this content, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Really appreciate it. So let's talk Darrell Henderson. Let's go back to 2019 when he was drafted. So 2019, 2018 college football season, Darrell Henderson coming out of college, he went to Memphis where he was second in college that year in rushing. He had 1,900 rushing yards, 22 total, well, I believe just 22 rushing touchdowns on 214 carries. So he averaged 8.9 yards per carry, right? He was a first-team All-American. Now, I get it. He played for Memphis, which Memphis plays, I believe, in the American division, where American Conference, where it's not the best, but they played 2 games that year against UFC. UFC that year, I believe they finished as team, I believe it was 11th in the AP pool. I believe, I have to double check that, but I believe they finished as the 11th team. So borderline top 10 team. Darrell Henderson in those 2 games against UFC, he has 199 yards rushing, and then in the other game has 210 yards rushing. There's no bowl game for him. He decides to sit out, prepare for the draft. So in the good competition, the best competition, the best team that they played against, he goes off. All right. In his combine as a 4.3, a 4.4 40-yard dash. And then if we're going to look at player profile, let's look at all of his the breakdown of this. So he's in the 81 percentile, 72nd percentile, in terms of total BMI, 82nd percentile. It's good all across the board. And then his comparable is Maurice Jones-Drew. If we go back and look at some of the knocks, he's projected to be going in the 2nd to 3rd round. He's slightly undersized, which he's not the biggest running back, but he's also not the smallest. He's 5'8", 208 pounds. So a smaller frame, but he's a home run hitter. He's somebody he's electric. They talk about him. The movement's electric. He's very good out of the backfield as well in terms of a pass catcher. The weakness is his upright running style. Also, like I said, a little bit smaller. So there's some concerns here, but I believe, and as you know, obviously the Rams, they drafted him in the 3rd round. The strengths outweigh the weaknesses. All right. The kid has a lot of potential in the league. And this is also after Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley was not very good that season. This is basically the end of Todd Gurley. So they need a replacement for Todd Gurley. So we go into the 2019 NFL season where Darrell Henderson doesn't play a whole lot. He's not very impressive. He ends up getting hurt at the end of the season and has to get surgery. He has a high ankle sprain, has to get surgery. All right. So then we go into the 2020 season and the 2020 NFL draft. The Los Angeles Rams select Cam Akers. Cam Akers is considered one of the best backs in the draft. He falls to them at a good place where they'd get him in the 2nd round. And I personally believe that Cam Akers is a better football player than Darrell Henderson. I believe he's a better running back than Darrell Henderson. That's not to say that Darrell Henderson is not a good running back. Darrell Henderson is a good running back, but Cam Akers is better. Cam Akers ends up taking the job later in the season, week 14 against the New England Patriots. He ends up getting hurt against the Jets, so Darrell Henderson has a chance to prove himself against the Seahawks. He ends up getting hurt, placed on IR. Cam Akers takes over again. The rest is history. Cam Akers sees majority of the work down the stretch, especially in the divisional round in the playoffs, where he plays all but, I believe, 2 snaps that game. So, absolute stud. Now we come into the 2021 fantasy football season. Cam Akers is prime. He's primed to take over. He's primed to be a top 10 guy. We know what happens. Torn Achilles. So unfortunate. Damn it. It's so sad. All right. But now you have Darrell Henderson in this situation where I believe easily top 20 back potential. And now let's get into why I believe that, all right? you no longer have the first thing is you no longer have Malcolm Brown on this team. Malcolm Brown is officially gone. You have Cam Akers gone for the season. Malcolm Brown, Cam Akers last year in total had 280 total touches between them. If that's a player in the NFL, we put all those touches on one guy. That player, in terms of running back total touches, ranks 7th amongst running backs, all right? So there's a massive amount of touches up in the air. Last year, if we go back and we actually have, Cam Akers or Darrell Henderson, he plays over 300 snaps, so we have a good sample size and where he finishes in terms of his ability and everything. So let's look at some things. What are some key stats that we want to look at? This is by Pro Football Focus, and you can say what you want about Pro Football Focus, but I'm also looking at multiple stats where I feel like if he's up there in multiple stats, that's a good sign, all right? In terms of pass pro last year, some people are saying, they need to get a third down back. He can't be the third down back. In college, he was pretty solid out of the backfield. Last year, he was solid as well, especially in terms of pass pro, where a lot of younger guys, which that's basically who's on the roster right now, are young guys, struggle in pass pro, where Darrell Henderson last year was the 5th highest rated running back, 5th highest graded running back in terms of pass pro, all right? Now let's look at receiving. Receiving, where did he rank? Now, he ranked down in the 30s, but if we're looking at guys who are below him, so he ranked 38th, there's guys that are below him, David Montgomery, right? Joe Mixon. We have Kareem Hunt down here. If we go to the next page, you're going to see J.K. Dobbins. All right, so there's other guys that are lower than him. Now let's go and let's just look at overall grade as a running back. What are his overall grades? His overall grade where he's graded as a running back is 17th amongst running backs. That's sure, it's only one spot higher than Aaron Jones, but it's higher than Aaron Jones. All right, Chris Carson, Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, Myles Gaskin, Kareem Hunt. Even down here, you get to J.K. Dobbins, right? So these are all guys that he was graded higher than all those guys. So this isn't some Joe Schmo. This was a high touted player coming out of college. Also coming out of high school, he was highly touted. He's no Joe Schmo, people. This is a solid running back that at certain times last year really impressed, especially that game against Chicago. I thought he was super impressive in that game. So there's been flashes, all right? There's flashes here, and we can work with that. Now we look at their team, their current roster, all right? Let's look at the depth chart for, let's look at LA Rams depth chart, all right? Let's look at the depth chart. So let's look at who we got currently in terms of running backs. All right, so running back wise, we have Darrell Henderson, Xavier Jones, who's starting to draw some hype here. We got Jake Funk. I believe Jake Funk was their running back that they drafted. Yes, 7th round rookie last year, where he's kind of like I would say he's like more of a specialist where he can really do a bunch of different things. I want to consider him like an every down kind of guy. So there's been a lot of buzz about Xavier Jones, about what he can do. Last year, he was an undrafted rookie out of SMU. He had a pretty solid season with SMU. I believe he had 23 total touchdowns or 23 rushing touchdowns his last year in college. He didn't get invited to Pro Day, which they said a lot of people are saying that he definitely should have, but let's also take it with a grain of salt. This is somebody who last year didn't play one offensive snap, despite you have Darrell Henderson getting hurt, Cam Akers getting hurt. So you have these guys getting hurt. He still didn't play one offensive snap. So, well, let's see what happens. Then you have Sean McVay. Sean McVay has already came out and said that he wants the young guys see what they can do with this opportunity. They're not going to sign anybody right now. He's not ruling it out, but he's not signing anybody right now. All right. What I believe is the most likely situation to happen is if there's a surprise cut during camp, like last year with Leonard Fournette. I believe that this team is going to pursue that player, whoever it may be, pretty hard in terms of like whatever running back it is. They're going to pursue that player pretty hard. If not, they're probably going to add a veteran. All right, a veteran like LaShawn McCoy, Adrian Peterson, Le'Veon Bell, Frank Gore, Todd Gurley. do we feel like one of those running backs is a threat to Darrell Henderson? Me personally, no, I do not. Because once again, let's look at the snaps, or no, let's look at the total work. 200 total touches are up in the air from last year. I believe last year, if we do the math, I think he had 154 total touches. Darrell Henderson had last year. So he had 154. There's 280 up for grabs right now. That's so much work. I've seen some people say, oh, they're going to turn to Matthew Stafford. Last year, Jared Goff, he didn't play a full season. He missed a game. Despite that, he averaged the 9th most passing attempts in the NFL last year. Had the 9th most passing attempts in the NFL. That's missing a game, right? So are they going to throw the ball more with a top 5 defense? I don't think they're going to throw the ball a whole lot more than that. Sure, those touches are going to be distributed amongst people that they have on the roster, but then let's look at another stat. If we take Darrell Henderson, Cam Akers, Malcolm Brown, and look at their red zone work as well. Last year, Darrell Henderson led all of them with 32 red zone carries, but if we combine all of them into one, you have 82 red zone touches, which would have been first amongst all running backs. Even if you take Derrick Henry and that supporting crew, like, this is still the number 1 running back in terms of red zone carries. Okay, so 82. Now, obviously, I don't expect all those to go to Darrell Henderson, but he was the lead back at the red zone last year. Now with no competition. So if we give him, let's say, 25% of the 50 that's left over from Cam Akers, Malcolm Brown, if we give him 25%, so 12, and let's round it down to 12. It's 12.5, but we'll just round down. We won't round up. We'll say just 12. So that puts him at 44, which would have been 10th most in the NFL last year. So this is what I'm talking about, is that there's a massive void for touches. And it's not all going to go to Darrell Henderson. But if he sees like 25, 30%, a third of that, he's easily going to finish inside the top 15 in terms of RB touches. Right around RB number 10, honestly, is where he's going to finish in terms of running back touches based upon last year. So why can't he finish inside the top 20 at the position? He's going to see more work than majority of those people that are currently being drafted. Your J.K. Dobbins, he's going to see more work than J.K. Dobbins will. Probably more work than DeAndre Swift will. So why is this somebody that's not he's not a top 20 guy? To me, it's ludicrous. Looking at the potential workload here, it could be massive. Now, we have to see what exactly happens in training camp, what exactly happens with any free agent signing and all of that. Is Darrell Henderson the lead back in training camp? We'll have to see. To me, I believe he will be. I believe he's a very good running back. He's obviously not as good as Cam Akers, but he's a solid running back that can get the job done. And I believe with this opportunity, will get the job done. Once again, I just want to hammer this home, is that 280 total touches that are up for grab. You have Matthew Stafford, an upgrade from Jared Goff last year. You have a top 5 defense, a top 10 offensive line. It's a no-brainer for me. He's easily a top 20 guy. And whatever the case may be, if you don't believe that, let me know why down in the comments, because I want to know why. If you don't think that he's going to see at least 25% of that 280 workload, and even if you do think that some of it's going to go to Matthew Stafford and throwing the ball, that's fine, but that's still 200 total 80 touches, right? That are up in the air right now for running backs. So this is a running back friendly team. This isn't the New York Jets. This is the Rams, a Rams team that wants to get the running backs involved. So let me know why you don't think he should be there. I'm interested to know why people might not think that. So hope you enjoyed this video. It's kind of a rant. Sure, I ranted a lot. So hopefully you liked it. So thank you for watching and have a great day.